Hello, Facebook. How are you today? It is Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA coming to you live from the dining room, but technically I'm at my table today. I'm at the table, not the wall, because I have furniture over there being staged and waiting for a beautiful sunny day. So this is a close-up view, which I all seem to really like. A close-up view of a project that I'm working on. I thought we could get together, talk about a little paint and color mixing, and start this project. So welcome. If you're dropping in and saying hello for the first time, I'd love it if you left me a little note and let me know where you're watching from. And if you're back again to hang out and play with some paint, welcome back. So what do we have here? Well, let me show you the project first before I begin, and then we will move on to what we are doing. So this is a basic box. This is actually something called a memory box. This is a memory box I picked up at the local Goodwill. I've taken off the hinges and the lock. And I have done some bonding boss on here because of this slick and shiny surface. If you flip this over, you can see the reflection of the light. It's a plasticized material. This plastic style of material needs a little bit of more prep before you go ahead and put some chalk mineral paint on there. So this is being prepped with bonding boss. Now you can kind of see a little bit of an outline. There's an actual kind of a sticker on here, which I'm going to be going over top of, because when I tried to take it off, I could not get it off. It's very strong. So I have prepped this box with bonding boss in 2 even coats of gray. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to have a little chat about something today, which is really cool. So this, my friends, is one sheet of a transfer that has 4 parts to it. So for today's project, since it's a small box, I thought I should go through my transfer stash and see what I could find. And I had these pieces left over from a jewelry armoire that I did a couple months ago. So I thought, why not use up what we have in our kind of back stash here at the Top Drawer RVA and get this beautiful transfer down onto a project. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. It's the Monochrome Majesty. So this is 4 sheets, all this size, but all I have left is 1.5. So this actually fits on top of the lid pretty much perfect. Can you see how perfect that fit is? So my plan for today was, I thought, well, let's paint this box together. And if I can dry it enough with my heat gun, maybe we can even get this transfer down onto here. But now, this is where the fun stuff is going to happen, what we're going to do today. When you look very close up at this transfer, you can see some really beautiful colors. It's a monochrome transfer, so majority of this transfer is like a gray scale, but you can see some peaks of some really pretty colors into this project. So I thought, find your most favorite flower, which is for me this flower right here, and then enter this image. I took a picture of this right here with my phone. Now, taking a picture of this with my phone allows me to upload this exact flower into something called the Color Lab here on the Dixie Belle paint page. Have you ever heard about the Color Lab or the color mixer that you can find at www.dixiebellepaint.com? If you haven't, you're missing out, because it's really a cool thing to try. So this is the image right here, this little flower. I took a picture of this, uploaded this into the color mixer. Now, if you get real close, and I'm going to get real close, you can see it's not exactly black and white on that flower, is it? It's actually a really pretty color of like a brown with a touch of purple. Does that make sense? It's really pretty color. So my thought was, upload this to the color mixer, and the color mixer is going to tell you exactly what paint to use to make this color. You would never imagine what color it told me to mix to get that shade. It told me to take Cottage Door and Coffee Bean to get this color happening. Do you think it's going to work? I've used the color mixer before for a beautiful shade of pink, and it had me mix like barn red and sea glass, and I was thinking, there's no way, Jose. And it really gave me a perfect color. So the color mixer told me to mix Coffee Bean and Cottage Door, and it even gives you the percentage of what you're mixing, and I wrote it down in the back of my paper so I wouldn't forget. So it told me 80% Coffee Bean, 20% Cottage Door will give me that beautiful rose color. So we're gonna play with some paint today, mix it up and see what color we can get. All right, let's do it. So I grabbed a fancy big gulp cup a plastic knife, and my paint. Let's see what happens. Now this cottage door is a little bit older. It's definitely seen better days. It's been around a little while. So I'm gonna get some water too. And we're gonna add a little bit of water and I'm gonna shake it up because I feel like it got a little bit, just a little bit old in there. Sometimes when paint sits around for a while, it can get a little chunky, but this is water-based paint. There's no problem in adding a little bit of water and then giving your projects a really good shake. So ignore me while I shake this up. And after I shake it, I'm gonna stir it. The coffee bean itself is brand new. It's just this cottage door. It's a little bit older. So we're gonna give it a little bit more liquid. That should be good. We're having a little mad scientist show today here on the Dixie Belle paint page. Better. I feel like it could even use a little bit more, don't you think? Let's keep going. Get your exercise in. I actually saw somebody once actually have their very own paint shaker. Could you imagine having your very own paint shaker at home just for shaking up paint? Wouldn't it be crazy? It would also be super convenient, right? Super convenient. Oh, I just sprayed that all over. Surprise. All over my project, my watery, my watery lid. Okay, so now we have cottage door and coffee bean. So it says 80% coffee bean. Let's see this gorgeous brown. I'm gonna give him a shake too since he's brand new. All right. And we're gonna add them to my container. Okay, so you could be super precise and get out like a measuring cup. But you know what? I don't roll like that. I roll by the seat of my pants. So let's see what we can make happen here. We've got our little big gulp cup. I feel like I can probably fit about this much coffee bean and then that much. And we'll see. Let's see what happens. Flying by the seat of our pants here, people. Seat of our pants. All right, so that's coffee bean. Let me wipe off my little stick because I'm gonna reuse it. So for the coffee bean, I've got, if I look at my line, I can't turn it sideways because the line will move, but I can still see right there. So I'm gonna go up to about here with my cottage door. That should be about 80-20, wouldn't you think? Let's see what happens when we do that. I'm eyeballing this. I'm eyeballing this. Come on, a little bit more. And we are chunky. Let's see. Okay, so now we get 80 and 20 in there. Let's mix it up and see what color we get. It could be great. It could be terrible. It's probably gonna be perfect because the last time I used a color mixer, it was spot on. So the color I'm going for is the color of that flower. I'm gonna hold it up. We're gonna see if we could get this to happen. I actually brought a plastic knife over here and look at me using a transfer stick. So the color itself is a little bit mauve, a little bit brown on the rose. I just really want to get this edges in here. So I'm trying to shove my hand in the cup. Have you tried the color mixer before? And if you have, were you able to get like the most perfect color that you were going for? Okay, when I look at this, also paint on my hand, surprise. And I look at this. Now, ignore my paint splatters on my transfer sheet. Let's hold this closer to the rose that I was trying to go for. Look at that! Without the glare, let's see if we can do it without the glare. How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? Okay, let's move the paint out of the way. That would be the first step so I don't have a massive accident. Here's my flower. Let's turn it so the glare from my camera is not on it. There's my flower, there's my paint color. What do we think? That's pretty darn good, right? Because this is the flower right here where my paint stick is touching. I could go even darker, but I love that color. So if you're seeing this on camera underneath a fluorescent light, it's looking a little more brown because I can see the camera view from where I'm standing, but in person, this is actually a really pretty rose, like a deep, 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 dark rose color. So let's put it on our project and see what happens, shall we? I'm gonna shove my little stick back in my cup and put the lid on my paint because we know accidents happen. I like to make a mess. This is a table I have set up here in my studio with a camera so that y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, put the lid on the water too because we know that we could have an accident with that. All right, so we have this gray surface, right? I'm gonna keep stirring this because I don't want it to get kind of separated. I want it to stay nice and fresh. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna put my little stick over here. I'm gonna wipe my hand off on my shirt. There's my color. Big gulp cup, fancy pants color. So we're gonna paint this box today, and then I'm gonna move the lid off and we're gonna paint the base. Then I'm gonna dry the lid and we're gonna apply that transfer to see how it looks. So let's check it out. So this is the color. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's exactly the color I wanted. It's so smoky rose color. Oh my gosh, I know you see a glare. I want you to see it without the glare. Look at the shade of that paint. Look at that. Look at that compared to those beautiful flowers on the transfer. Can that be any better? Seriously, if you haven't tried the color mixer, it's gonna knock your socks off. Because never in a million years would I have thought to mix Coffee Bean and Cottage Door to get the exact color of that rose that's in the transfer. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I actually might have to recreate this for a dresser because I have a feeling this was like the color of the year this year. A very dusky, dark, smoky. I can't say it's brown and I can't say it's pink. It's like exactly in the middle. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, perfect. Perfection. I'm 100% happy. Let's keep painting our little lid. The color recipe, if you're looking exactly for the color that I did, was 80% Coffee Bean and 20% Cottage Door, right? 80-20, 80-20. You guys, it's so pretty. Oh my goodness. I feel like I need to turn this light off, but if I do, you're not gonna be able to see. I'm just gonna try and keep the glare at a minimum. It's so hard to please the camera because the camera needs light to like be true to color. But yet, when something is shiny, reflective, and wet paint, it's definitely not the best. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna come around the edges and just do the edges. So I'm not painting the interior of this box. I'm just painting the exterior of this box. And since I took the hinges off, I just want to get these edges done before I pick it up and move it over. To be honest, I will probably only add one coat of paint to this project on this box top because of the fact that majority of this paint is going to be covered by the transfer, right? You're not going to see a bunch of it. You're just going to see a tiny little peek of all the edges. It is the most pretty color. I can't even explain to you how nice this is. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to move the lid over. We're going to paint the bottom part of the box. So this box was a yellow melamine like this. And then of course I did the edges, which if I move my little wheels, we should be able to really get in here and make some magic happen. So we're gonna do the sides of this box. This is a really fast project. If you guys can find little boxes like this at your thrift store, you are going to be happy because they are a super quick little makeover. I'm obviously only gonna be able to do 3 sides of this box because I can't lay it down flat on the wet paint. So let's just do the sides because we're gonna concentrate on the top in a minute and get it dry so we can add our beautiful transfer and see how pretty that color is gonna be. You know, this color is almost like a chocolate milk. Does that make sense? It's like a really deep blush. Super deep. I feel like if I were to name it, it would have to be something almost like chocolate milk because it's definitely got a brown tone with that coffee bean. And then it also has that really pretty pink undertone. I guess if you study color theory, you would understand more about how certain colors work like this. I mean, I just couldn't understand that coffee bean, a brown, and such a pink would give me the color I was going for, but 100%, first try, totally worked. Okay, let me put this over here. Pick up my little box without trying to make the biggest mess in the world. And bring my lid back over here. Let's put my little wheels back down. Nice, nice. Back on track. Just making sure I got my edges covered, and then we're going to take a heat gun to this and get it dry so that we can see how that transfer is going to look on this color. Okay, let's plug in that heat gun. Talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes. So transfers ideally should be applied to a project that is dry for a longer period of time. But for us here on the paint page and working together, we're really gonna try and get this as dry as possible to put that transfer down. So ideally you wait 24 hours before you put your transfer onto a wet paint project. It's a very muted color once it's dry. It's a very pretty shade. And the hardware for this piece is gold. So it's got this gold hardware that's gonna go back onto the piece. Gold and like a purpley shade like this is always a good combo. And I'll definitely be saving the rest of this because I have like 6 ounces or so in here, and that's enough for another project entirely. Once you do get your transfer down into your project, you can seal it with clear coat or satin clear coat or even wax. Another little couple sections where I just need to add a little bit more paint. I want this transfer to kind of wrap around, and when you lay the transfer out, the only part that really isn't covered is these edges. So let's just double check that we've got them covered. What would you call this color? Like it's hard to transmit through the screen, especially being so bright under these lights. It's literally a mauve. It's the deepest, darkest mauve that you can probably get. You say mauve or mauve? It's probably mauve. It definitely is mauve. With a W, Patty, you're making it harder for me. Mauve, mauve. It's a fancy word for purple. So some people like to seal their projects with clear coat before they put their transfer on. I usually do not. I don't seal it until afterwards. Let's move my wheels out of the way. And let's take my little transfer and line this up so that I can see where to cut it. I'm actually going to flip it over so I can get the paper backing. So I need a even mix here of the edges. I have a pencil. Once I line it up, I'm just going to cut the edges. This way when I cut it, I'm going to be able to fit this piece right on top. Once again, this is the Monochrome Majesty Transfer from the Bells and Whistles line. It's from about, not the last release, I would say the one before. Really pretty muted design. These are just scrap pieces that I had left over from a jewelry box that I finished. Okay, so now this should be the perfect fit for my box. So the hinges will come up over the edge here, which will go over top of the transfer, and then the other hinge is on the front of the piece as well. And then this will sit on top and I can clear it with, coat it with clear coat. So I'm just gonna make sure one more hit with the heat gun before I actually get to work here. Ideally, you should wait 24 hours after you apply your paint to let your project get dry. And now let's talk about transfers really quick. In case somebody's watching that has never used a transfer before, this transfer comes on a sheet that is white plastic backing. This is the sticky side, this is the image side. You will remove this from the backing paper, which is kind of shiny. And then you have to be very gentle because this sticky side is a fragile creature. Like if the wind takes it or you drop it down the wrong way, it's going to stick and live wherever it falls. So be very careful when you're lining up your edges and getting things down. If it helps you to tape, you can. Some people like to tape it, then get underneath and peel it off. I'm more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of a gal, so I'm going to just wing it. There's really no up or down to this transfer. It's whatever way you want it to go. This side of my box being the hinge, I feel like it should probably go this way, which would be the prettiest. And we're going to lay this down right now on top of our custom color, our custom piece of box top. All right, so we're gonna peel this off and I'm gonna get quiet for a minute because I tend to be quiet when I'm thinking or lining things up. So once you peel it off, like I said, it's fragile. So I'm gonna drop the plastic on the floor that I don't need. I'm going to make sure I have a grip on my project, okay? And I'm going to come in and lay it down. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can go like top to bottom. You might even see my top of my head at this point because I'm gonna come really close to the edge. I'm just gonna line it so that it's right in the middle. Once it's right in the middle, I'm gonna let it go and then my project is down. So if you feel like you still have, like I have a tiny overhang here, you can just take a sharp knife. I have one over here somewhere. I'm gonna cut the excess off before I begin. What that is going to do is allow me, sorry, my arm, let me turn it. It's going to allow me to cut this edge off and not have a piece that's gonna slide over. So I'm just gonna grab my knife and I'm gonna come in really close to the edge. Even though I measured, I was a tiny bit off. Now that piece is off and trash. I can lay it aside. And we have our image on our box. Okay. So smooth it with your fingers first. I like to give everything a nice smooth, push out any air bubbles. Every transfer comes with a little tool like this. This tool is your wooden tool that you use to burnish the image off of the paper and onto your project, okay? So we're gonna go up here. I see some people talking. I can't really see the way my camera stand is and the way that the words fly by, so I apologize. I will come back in afterwards and have a listen, see what everybody is saying. Probably just telling me the right way to say mauve. Mauve, 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 mauve. There's always gonna be somebody telling me. I'm actually Canadian, born and raised, so my accent tends to be like the English Canadian accent. Some people think I sound like I'm from Minnesota. I'm from all over the place, people, all over the place. Now I live in the South, but I have definitely not picked up a Southern accent. I might say y'all here and there, but that's about it. all y'all. So you want to be careful when you come in close to your edge where your transfer's close to your paint, because number one, I just painted this and dried it with my heat gun, which technically you're supposed to wait for your paint to get very dry, but your paint is still fragile, it's still fresh. It's not sealed, it's not cured. So when you're working along the edges, your best bet is to just be very careful. If you wanted to put another piece of plastic over top of the edge so that you didn't get in the way, you could. This image itself is very large, so I'm gonna really just concentrate on getting the edges burnished down. Once you know those edges are down, this is gonna lift very easily. Again, going over all of my edges first to make sure that they're down and on my project. Usually you see me speed this part up on a video because it's not the funnest watching somebody scrape a transfer down, but if you've never done it, a video like this might be helpful for you. So now you can see how this is lighter over here. See how this image has like a lighter side? That's where it's being released off of the transfer and down onto the project. So you just keep going along. Once again, this is the Majestic Monochrome Transfer. I'm going to turn it around so I can just easily keep working on my edges without putting my arm all in front of the camera. And this is just one sheet from a giant set of 4. I previously used this on a jewelry armoire. The armoire was red, caviar, really pretty, smoky blend. And that, my friends, is that. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Drop that on the floor. Hold this up to the camera so that you can see that gorgeous color. See how much the color matches those flowers in the transfer? That's that custom blend of coffee bean and Cottage Door. What do you think? Super pretty together, right? This is giving me ideas for an even bigger dresser. It's almost like this muted mauve blush color is very, I don't know, it's a very trendy color, I think. I feel like I've seen it a lot this fall. It's very pretty together. So the color here is custom, 80% coffee bean, 20% Cottage Door, with one sheet of the Majestic Monochrome Transfer on top. And that, my friends, is pretty much as far as I can take you because I have to wait for the bottom of the box to get dry so I can paint the other side, and then we'll put this all back together. Should we hold some of the gold up so you can see how gold is going to look with this? Very nice, very nice. So to seal this, all you need to do is use a clear coat or a wax. I will be using clear coat in satin. That's usually my go-to. And then I will be able to put this box back together, and that is going to be one pretty box.